Let's do it. All right. Chat. What's going on?
All right.
There we go.
You're watching this video.
Yo, Matthew, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Nothing much. How about you? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Good, man. Good. Hey, I tell everyone this that joins the hotline here is that might be a little awkward for you because you'll be able to see me on the live, but you won't be able to see
Yeah.
me in the Google Meet.
Okay.
Might be a little bit of delay, but man, hey, thanks for joining. Thanks for reaching out. If you don't mind me asking, what made you decide to join the streams rather, ask for some feedback here? Because chat, just so you guys are aware too, let me pull up Matt's stats here. There's a lot of questions that I have for you too, Matt. We'd love to learn from you as well.
Of course, bro.
So yeah, give us a little bit of backstory. What happened here?
So I think one, I saw you on my For You page like a few days ago,
Okay.
and I just really liked how you went about content. I thought it was very, like, you clearly had a method. Like you were experimenting, you were trying new things, which is something that I tell my audience to do all the time. But I really like how you document everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with your I Showed Speed video,
Yeah.
where you literally were like, okay, I'm about to make this video. Here's how I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do this, and that.
Yeah.
And you post and you show the results. I don't see a lot of content creators doing that. So I was like, okay, that's really cool. So I followed you, and then I saw you live, and I was like, okay, let me join the live. And I saw like you were doing like basically this. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. And I was like, okay, let me inquire about seeing what he thinks about my page.
I love it, man. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, guys. I've been
Yeah.
in chat. Thank you guys as well. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from these types of sessions here. So
I'm scrolling.
thanks for that, Matt, as well as chat. Matt, I'll give you a little bit of backstory on me, and then of course I'll ask you some questions on yours as well, so I can help you here. Just like what you said,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of my page, is for me to document my journey. I've experience working with and growing multiple accounts of my own in the past, and so I wanted to have one account where I can document how I'm going about 0 to whatever really goal, but with this account and
Yeah.
sharing from the aspect of a student. And so what we're going to do here today, and how I'll frame a lot of this discussion, is around tests. I'll be giving you maybe some experiments to try, just based on what
Yeah.
I've learned. But Matt,
Okay.
feel free to tee it up for the chat too, man. What do you want to
Yeah.
learn in our session today? What questions do you have? And I can't promise I'll be able to teach you stuff. I'm going to ask you a lot of stuff. You've had some great success too. So hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be mutually beneficial.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so first thing, I mean, we talked earlier about going over some scripts I had, but the one thing I really wanted to touch down on was like, I would like to be, sort of unique when you're posting videos online, because I feel like, especially in 2026, like content creation, personal branding is such a huge niche. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at all these other creators, and I try not to look at other creators, but like, I feel like if you, even scroll a little bit, you're bound to look at them.
100%.
And you try, yeah, right. You try to take inspiration and stuff, and it's like, wow, this person is so cool. Like, I love how they have their own style. It's like, how do I sort of create and have my own style?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love this. Is a great question. Do we want to how much do we want to dive into this one, Matt? Do you have any other questions that you have as high priority? Because I could spend like 2 hours on this discussion here. So I want to make sure I give you the most value for your time here. Are there any?
No, you're good. I have two other more questions after this, so you could just like really, I'm here for the value. So
Awesome,
just
man.
here to learn.
Awesome. Cool.
Is this being recorded, by the way?
It is. Yeah. You okay with that? I should have asked.
Yeah,
you
no,
to-
that's good. I was gonna ask you to send it to me after.
Yeah, of course, man. So this is being live streamed right now on my YouTube and my Instagram. And
Yeah.
what I typically do is I will take the clips from the live stream and then upload them as YouTube
Yeah.
videos. So
Yeah.
just remind me, I'll send you the stream,
Yeah.
and then I can send you clips as well. So
Okay. Cool.
cool, man. So for chat, I'll just reiterate just for the YouTube as well. Looks like my YouTube stream kind of cut out a little bit. We're gonna start
Okay.
off chat. Matt asked a question about how to really stand out in almost like an oversaturated market, if you will. In the world of personal branding and content creation right now, there are a lot of people maybe making content about it as well as learning about it. And Matt, is your central maybe struggle here is like I don't want to just be like another one in the crowd almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I have many thoughts here that I think could be a good exercise. Let me pull up a Google Doc too, and I'll send this to you as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this is going to be all from exercises that I've done from people much smarter than myself that led me to where I'm at right now. I don't know if I'm like totally unique, but I've had a lot of people reach out to me lately about what you just said. That like, hey, I see that you're doing something different.
Yeah.
So I'll share my process. And it's funny that you're even asking me this question because, Tiago, are you in the chat here? We literally had, and 1J, if you're in the chat too, maybe the OGs will remember in the live streams, we literally spent 3 weeks doing this live. Like I was repositioning my page live on stream. So remind me to send you those too. Because
for sure.
we worked through this exercise together, and the chat and I and Tiago all came up with where we're at now. So hopefully this is going to be valuable. All right. So let me put together your content plan, and I think I'm just sharing my your Instagram. So hold on one second.
Yeah.
All right, let me know if you can see my screen here.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay. So I'm going to walk you through what we did here. And this is thanks to not from my own brain. This is from, so Tiago's like my right-hand man. He's in the chat here. Tiago, if you just want to say what's up to the chat. Tiago's my right-hand man. He's someone who, him and I have just like studied content religiously for years. And so we put together this document here, and I'll send this, let me just send this to you now.
Yeah, go ahead.
We did this live with the chat, and this was us during a time where I had a couple of videos that popped off, but I didn't feel like, I basically had the same concerns that you did. I was like, these videos got a lot of views, but I feel like I'm just kind of blending in with the crowd. Like, why would someone listen to me? Yeah. So what Tiago did was he watched, I'm sure you're familiar with Caleb Ralston, right?
Yeah, 100%.
He watched all of Caleb Ralston's like multi-hour courses, and then some other people that we really admire, Matt Gray, Tiago. Am I forgetting anyone in particular when it came to branding? But as I wait for Tiago, we put together all of our learnings into this doc here. Yeah. If anyone wants this workbook too, this is for brand positioning that we've been using. Just send a DM. But this is what we did. So we went through, and one of the first things that Caleb mentions is like this 2-column exercise. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, of like, write down all the things that you agree with, write down all the things that you don't agree with. That's a little bit more down right here, this 2-column exercise. This is one of the very first things that we did, even though it's like farther down on the workbook. This was like pre-workbook. Tiago and I sat as well as with the chat, and we were like, okay, what are all the things? Let's just write out all the things that we have done and that we care about or that we agree with, and then what are all the things that we don't necessarily agree with that are kind of common beliefs. One of those for me, and again, I'm just going to share like how I came up with where I'm at now, and then I'm happy to brainstorm with you. One of those for me was this idea that was very common, and funny enough, like Caleb is actually the person that talks about this, where he talks about like doing cool shit and then talking about it. But to me, although I really admire Caleb, I had an issue from my learnings, learning from like the top guys, Caleb, Alex Hermosi, anyone that's like really credible with proof, because I didn't have proof. And so there was this thought for a while, and kind of like a internal conflict that I had, where it's like, okay, well, if I don't have like a multi-million-dollar company, if I'm not rich and famous, does that mean I can't make content? And eventually I just said, you know what? No, I don't think that's true. I think I'm going to try to make a page that's dedicated to me just being a student. And like, if everyone else is saying that they're an expert, I'm going to be the one guy that says I'm not an expert, and I'm just going to document and see what happens. And
I noticed that about you. That's like something that you kind of put on the forefront, which I honestly have not seen before.
That's I mean, I treat my entire page, I say this in a lot of these sessions, I treat my entire page as an experiment. And so this is the central experiment with my page is like, if everyone's claiming to be experts and we're also in this age where like online trust is at an all-time low, let me see what happens if I build a whole page around me not being an expert and see what happens. So that's the current position. And then from there, that was kind of the first idea. So I started tactically, I turned that into like what I have in the bio where it says not an expert. But then for a while, I think I'm just sharing the Google Doc. That's fine. But for a while, actually, let me just share my Instagram so I can show you. And then we'll workshop some ideas with your page here. And let me know if I'm rambling at all too.
No, that's what I'm here for.
Okay. So this is actually a new, newly added part of the bio. There was a while, maybe a couple months, where like my page started to really gain traction in May of this year, so just 2 months ago. Yeah. And I had this problem where like I wanted to be known as a student, but a lot of my videos were not coming across that way. For example, like hold on. These videos here were very much of the mindset of me like trying to teach people, and they
come across very authoritative.
Especially this one here. This one, and then this one is the one that kind of popped off the growth on my page. Yeah. And this one's very authoritative, exactly like you said. And I felt icky about that because there's an exercise that we did publicly in the chat where Caleb says, if you want to be different from everyone else, one of the first things you need to ask yourself is, what do you want to be known for? And for me, I wanted to be known as the guy who's not an expert. And when I watch these videos, I'm like, dude, I am telling people what to do as if I'm an expert. But like these whole. And so we did this exercise live with the chat where I said, okay, how can I tactically change this, maybe my positioning a bit? And so I started doing over time. It didn't really start until, again, this was kind of a process. It didn't really start until right here, let's experiment. This was like the first video where I started to change my positioning. And how I started doing it is by anytime I had a script written out based on like idea I had or a framework, I would try to add my brand voice into it. So instead of me saying like, here's 5 things that are going to kill your brand, I would start by saying, here's 5 things that have killed my brand. And so like one of the rules I started making for myself was like, I'm not going to tell people what to do. I'm just going to share things that are working for me or things that are not working. And that's where I started to do these experiments. I started to share about like things that I'm learning about. These are my successes and failures, etc. And then I started doing the content experiments, because I'm like, okay, I want to show that I'm a student. And so I started to remove all messaging in my videos of me saying like, do this or don't do that, you know? And so that's been like an over the past couple months, that's been kind of like a developing process where I am, and then I started adding this in the bio, not an expert. I started adding these highlights here that like, again, explain the same thing over and over. And then now what I've been doing is trying to add the same sentence, like I'm not an expert, into every single piece of content. And so now moving to you, because I know I've just been monologuing for 10 minutes. The exercises that have helped me the most so far is by there's basically 3 things that I've done that I think have helped me a little bit. Let me just share my screen here. Which are hold on. Let me go to your doc. Sorry, I know I'm all over the place a little bit. 3 things that have helped me the most so far have been first line in bio, explain like is my differentiator statement or whatever. So, because I know people are going to read that. Highlights, my differentiator. Eventually I'll have a pinned story. I haven't got to that yet, but then framing in every video. So if I want to be an expert, I have to lead each video by saying like, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm learning, here's the mistakes I've made, instead of saying this is what you need to do. So frame as a student in first person POV. And then what I've been developing recently is a mantra for each video. So I know, like, for example, Sam Gaudette. You're familiar with Sam Gaudette, right?
No, I don't think I know who that is.
Okay, so this might be a good example here. I learned this from this guy. This guy, the guy that he's a creative director.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen him.
This
before.
guy. So
yeah,
when I watch his content, I notice that he uses the same sentence in every video, which is that I helped Dan Martell go from 100,000 followers to 10 million. He says it in pretty much every video here. I don't think you'll be able to hear the sound, but you'll probably be able to see. He might have a graphic of Dan Martell here. Let me see. Yeah. So he has this in every video, where he uses this as like his super hook, his credibility statement, but also like he says this all the time. And I've noticed that a lot of the biggest creators will have like some sort of mantra. And so what I've been doing recently is adding like, I'm not an expert, into more of my pieces of content. Yeah. Or saying the words, and then the other thing I'm doing too is like I'm trying to use the same words over and over again, such as like experiments, try, test, etc. Just so people can get the point across. So these are the tactical things that I'm doing to stand out. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Do you want to you want to try to workshop it on your page?
Yeah, we definitely could.
All right, let's do it. That
was actually even my next question. Like, if you took a look at my content, who do you think like my ideal client profile should be? Because I feel like right now I'm kind of just speaking to everybody, and I kind of want to narrow that down. So like, I don't really have any like content pillars. I just kind of talk about how to go viral and things of that nature. But I don't really have too much structure.
One of the things that helps me a lot is, and I learned this from someone, I think it was maybe Mino Lee, someone much smarter than myself, who said like he always thinks about his younger self whenever he makes content. I've really adopted that same thing for me, because I've been so obsessed with learning about content for like 12, 13 years, and I have, over the past several years, I've always been very frustrated with all the advice online and like not knowing how to, like, which way to go. And so a lot of my videos, I just think about my younger self, and I guess by indirectly, a lot of the people that have reached out to me kind of mimic that persona of me. So that could be a good starting point, is like, where were you, let's say, like 2 years ago?
Like, and 2 years ago, I actually remember. I remember I had an internship. So I've actually mentioned this before. I meant to post a video today about it. So I was working this internship, and I hated it, bro. Like, I hated it. Like, it was so mind numbing. It was so like, I didn't even want to wake up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know what it's gonna involve, but I know this is not it. You know what I'm saying? So that summer, I started posting, like, I was waking up at 5 a.m. I'll post like 5 videos before my internship. Go to my internship, edit videos at my internship, come home, film and script more videos until 9, go to bed, and do it. That was my schedule for like the whole summer, because I just knew, like, okay, I'm about to graduate in like a year. I was a senior in college, so I was like, okay, I'm about to graduate in a year. At least by the time I graduate, I have some proof of concept of what I want. I don't know what direction I want to take it in, but I know it involves social media. You know what I'm saying? So just kept doing that even during college. And this was hard. I was in a fraternity, so juggling that and like all that with like the posting. Like I can say I didn't post every single day, but I posted like majority days. You know what I'm saying? It was only to like towards the end of the school year I kind of weaned off it a little bit. But I didn't even see, like, bro, I was getting like 200 views for like a year. Like if you
remember
look at
those
me
days,
like,
yeah.
bro, I have videos of myself 5 a.m. in like just talking about like, yeah, I'm finna get mad famous. Like
Yep.
I'm getting 200 views a video, bro. It was crazy, and like people I know were like making fun of me and like talking slick and all that, and I was just like, I knew it was gonna happen because you talk to anyone about content, I'm sure you bump through like people will say stuff
Totally.
and like they'll be like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? You know what I'm saying? But I just kept posting, and then sometime like midsummer, I had a video pop off, and it was the rest is history essentially.
That was what I was going to ask you, because I noticed when I scrolled down, you had a lot of videos about
Yeah.
photography.
Yeah,
What?
so fun fact.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 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 no. Tell
I
me
was
about
gonna
this.
bring this up, but
Yeah.
fun fact, I used to be like a business coach for photographers. So I used
This
to
is good.
run my own photography business.
Yep.
I built it up to like 8K a month, which is
Yep.
actually pretty decent in the world of photography because a lot of photographers
Totally.
don't make nearly that much.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, let me turn around and teach this. So a lot of my earlier videos, the ones that were really popping off were all about photography, how to make a profitable photography business,
Yep.
and things of that nature. And then off that, I grew a personal brand. I got it to like 25K just off that.
Sure.
And I had like a coaching program off the back end, right?
Oh.
So which was doing pretty decent, but I was like, oh my God, I hate working with photographers. Like they're interesting people to work with. I'll put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're interesting people to work with. So I was like, okay, I don't really want to keep working with them. They're kind of giving me a headache. What else can I do? And I was working with I had a mentor at the time, a sales coach. He was like, oh, bro, like, why don't you just teach people how to make content, how to like go viral? Because you're doing that like every month, every week, pretty much.
Yep.
Just turn on TV. I was like, okay, yeah. So that was like 2-3 months ago. And
this is a funny story, because immediately I was like, why don't you think about photographers more in your content? And what you just said, it resonates so much with me. If you look at my page, I have hundreds of videos where I was talking just to realtors. I know if Tiago's in the chat, Tiago remembers these days where like similar to you. I spent many years owning a real estate media company, and so I did photography, video, and then I was helping, thanks to Tiago. I met Tiago during this time. He knew a lot about the advertising world for realtors. And so we were doing a mix of all of that. And I posted a ton of content about realtors. And then the same thing that you just said, and if any realtors are watching this live, I love you. Nothing, no hard feelings about, your industry, but there were many challenges, I'll say, working with that specific demographic. And so that I basically posted for that specific audience up until May of this year, and then I finally just said, you know what, I'm just going to start posting for myself, and so I've just since then literally just been thinking about myself, like what content I consume, what content I basically, similar to this idea of like documenting my journey, I make my page as if it's like almost like a journal for myself, so that I can document all the things that I'm learning. Because I know, like me 2 years ago, I was trying to figure all this stuff out, and now that I understand it, me having it on a page like this would be super helpful. And so that could be a similar or a beneficial exercise maybe for you as well. Is like same thing in your end. Like you had a working business, you had some clientele, but there were some challenges that you ran into, and so why not just move away and start talking about or talking to the people that you mentioned, like how you were 2 years ago, who are, they know that they know the importance of being on social media. They like video, almost more of like the creatives who are trying to build a, personal brand, but maybe not as directly creative as like a photographer.
Yeah.
So that could be something too. But I think really like when I'm thinking about differentiation, for me, again, the biggest, I'm trying to think of how to say this. The most beneficial things that I've done is how I word my scripts, like the words that I typically use, the ideas that I come up with has been super crucial. Again, I think like the thing that you might benefit the most from is going through the 2-column exercise. I don't even know. I have Grams on here. going through the 2-column exercise with Caleb, because
Yeah.
going through this, you might, if you were to workshop it, for example, like what are some things that people say in the personal branding space that you just, for example, let's just say it's things that you believe to be true.
That's a good question. Let me think. One is you have to post every single day. Like that's when you hear most common. I don't know if they're talking about, just like if you're starting out or if, you're like wherever you're at in your content. But I think it's more important to just have a consistent schedule. Obviously, I'm going to tell you to, get to the point of posting every day. But if you posted like 3 times a week, that's better than not posting at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's an opinion I definitely have.
So you believe that you don't need to post every day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to write out a couple, and then I'll explain how I went through my thought process. I don't know if it's the right way, but so far it's been doing okay.
Yeah.
What else? What are some other things that you typically hear like people in our space say that maybe you disagree with?
Using AI to write your scripts. I don't know if you agree with this one or not, but I try to veer away from it because you can kind of tell when someone's like,
totally.
Like I feel like now I can definitely tell a lot more than when it first came out. They'll be like, oh, it's not this, it's that. It's not this, it's that. And they'll be like, you know how like it'll like repeat itself. It's like, I did this, I did that, I did this. And I'm like I know ChatGPT, like you didn't even try to rewrite it. So I definitely try and veer away from. I'm not saying don't use AI in your content. I use AI in my content. Like I'm like, if I have a great video pop off, I'll ask Gemini, why does this video do so well? How can it do better? What should how can I capitalize off it? I'm not saying don't use it, but when it comes to scripting, try and veer away from it. Just maybe if you want to like, okay, here's a script I'm thinking, or like, I have a couple storytelling videos out. I'm trying to get more in like the storytelling aspect. And
same.
I was straight up, and I have another video coming out, like the Odyssey, I'm trying to tie those into like personal branding. And I was like, okay, can you give me like, how could I tie these two together? And then I wrote the script out myself and I'm like, what do you think of this? And then it'll tell you, but to just straight up be like, write me a script for X,
of course,
like
of course.
that's just,
same thing.
Like
I use it mostly just to refine my ideas, not to write it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
What are some other things that people say? And as we go through this exercise, one thing that I was trying to encourage myself to do is like, I'm trying to get like increasingly more unique. For example, like my unique belief is one that I don't think you need to be an expert to post content, but two, I also believe that all advice online works. It just works in different orders. And so like that one I think is pretty unique. I've never heard anyone else mimic that. And so are there any other things that you think that you truly believe that maybe you haven't seen elsewhere?
What do you think about like people saying be the niche or just pick a niche?
That's
I've heard that. I think. Sorry, I asked you the question.
Well, chat, you guys will like this too because you guys know my answer. I think just like I said above too. I think both ends of the conversation work. It's just to me, I think it's the wrong conversation to have. Like people that are saying be the niche are speaking to a different level of creator than someone who says to niche down. Someone that's saying to niche down is someone who, and that's something that like a lot of people don't realize is that every creator is talking to a specific audience. And people that are saying to niche down, they're typically speaking to people who are just starting out versus be the niche. Jen, you might be speaking to people who are a little bit more advanced with content creation. They can understand that, So what are your thoughts though?
I would say pick a niche.
Yeah. I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Pick a niche. I would say pick a niche. And I know that's like probably like the most vanilla take on this list so far. But yeah, pick a niche. Like I think I think you can start being the niche once you start growing a little more, and then you can you want to expand or whatever, but in the beginning just like you're not that guy, pal. Just stick to one thing. Talk about something that you know, and then you can start talking about like I just start like on my book. I don't think on my thing like I don't know if you saw. I have a couple of videos about like books or like like I read books like a couple books.
Yeah.
Or like I'm trying. Sometimes I'll talk about soccer. Like I had a video on my channel was about like the World Cup. But you know what I'm saying? But like I have 33,000 followers. So it's like now I'm kind of expanding that. But when I was first starting out, all I talked about was I didn't talk about books. I didn't talk about soccer. I didn't talk about weightlifting. None of that. I just talked about photography, and I got 25K just off of that.
Totally.
So in the beginning, pick a niche. Don't be the niche.
But I also think what you just said is a good point to consider for differentiation too. Because since you were talking about like how do I stand out, one thing that I have experimented with recently is like if I go to my page real quick, I have a video. I think you even mentioned too the videos about speed. For example, like I started to bring in, and this might be a good like tactical experiment for you to try too, is how can you connect ideas in other niches that you enjoy with with content creation. For example, like I pulled in streaming, and I have a unique belief about streaming, and I pulled it into content creation as well as with the World Cup. I really enjoy soccer as well, so I wanted to pull that into the content creation world. I think that's also a good way for you to continuously stand out, is by incorporating your interests and tying it back to a core topic. So that, So anyways, let's keep going with this list real quick. And Josh, if you're in here, I know Josh, hopefully Josh is still in here. I will send you a message here shortly because I know Josh wants to join this live too.
Yeah.
But let's get through this, Matt. I want to give you some experiments to try, and then we'll hop over to Josh here.
Okay.
So what else do you got here, Matt? What other things do you believe that we want to write down here?
Let me think. I think saves and shares are the most important metric when it comes to social media. I don't think views really matter too much. Yeah, saves and shares are the most important metric when it comes to social media.
This is so far. This one's my favorite that you've said.
Yeah.
This is just. I'm not saying like this is right or wrong. By the way, I'm just giving you outside feedback. This one's my favorite so far because I also have like very strong beliefs around this, and I don't see enough content about this. It's you can make so many videos about like how to optimize for shares and saves. But let's keep going. Anything else?
Okay, views don't matter. Last one. Trying to think. Let me see. Hold on. I have something written down. I think and I think this one I haven't heard this anywhere before. I've only heard this from one person. I think the only requirement that your video needs to pass before you can post it is, do you love the video? Yeah, I haven't heard that one too much.
I haven't either.
But
that's good.
But I used to have I used to have the biggest checklist I used to read off before I posted any video. And now I think, honestly, if I love the video, it's good enough to post.
Love it.
And I just wish I had adopted that mindset earlier.
I think this is what we are seeing across the board in terms of people that differentiate themselves is, for example, like Jessie Jean. She's obviously very widely known for yapping, but also she's a big proponent of like just doing the reps versus over optimizing, which seems to be like similar to maybe your stance. And so I've found that through my research on my own account as well as with others that people will typically stand out or they'll differentiate themselves based on, it's usually like a core belief that they have that other people can rally around. And that core belief that they have usually stems from their prior or past experiences. And so one thing, for example, if I talk about my page, and hopefully this is valuable to you guys, chat. When I look at my page, my core, I guess, counter position, if you want to get all fancy with the terminology, is like, I want to share my journey because deep down, I have this deep-rooted insecurity that I'm not good enough to share what I know about content. And so, I have made my whole mission on my page to experiment and to consistently say that I'm a student because I have this like deep-rooted all the way
Yeah.
back from previous experiences of like, I've told chat this a million times. I've literally had 6 different businesses now that have all failed. I mean, I've had successes within them, but they've all failed at the end of them. And so to me, there's like a very emotional tie to my, I guess, counter position, for lack of a better word. Because it comes from years of my internal struggles. And so for you, as we like look through this, like this was a good exercise just to write down like what people say and what you believe, but also for you, how can you tie the things that you believe with your past experiences, like working with photographers, for example, or working, like you mentioned already, when you were working at a 9 to 5, you hated it, and you, but you also love to make videos. There's probably also like that fear when you were trying to make videos of how can I actually make money making videos? Like it's not really something that I know. When I was in real estate media, we were chronically undervalued. People, especially in photography too, like people do not value photographers enough for the work that they do.
Yeah,
And
100%.
and so maybe there's something there too where you can think back to the feelings that you had as a photographer, how you were treated, maybe the internal conflicts you have, and then how does that shape your worldview now? For example, it might be like your counter position might be like people don't value content creators, enough. I'm just like kind of spitballing here, but like
No, yeah, it's a good one.
That's something that I have done with mine. Again, mine, like I basically have a claim that goes against, I guess, the grain that people reach out to me, because this is from deep rooted past problems that I've occurred or experiences. And so that could also be something similar for you to think about in your end. I'm trying to think of some other good ones, but I feel like there's probably something there with like you being a past creative and being maybe undervalued, or maybe thinking about some of like the issues you had as a photographer. How can you tie that into how you see the world now?
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did you cut out? I can't hear you. Oh, wait, I can't really hear you. Can you hear me? Get to the point. I'm posting every day. Hello?
Hold on, Matt.
I can't. Yeah, I cannot hear you.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I was just saying, like, sorry, I'm being a little bit vague with the counter positioning, but I think this is a good exercise. Who has
I like it.
This lady has a really good, I'm actually going to make a content experiment about this. Angelina.
Remember in the beginning when I was like, I look at other content creators and I love their style, bro.
Yeah,
this girl, like
she's good, right?
Yeah, she's got it. Yeah, she's got it.
So
she's got it.
I
love how she, like, her ideas are so unique.
They're good, right? And
like, how do you come up with this stuff?
A couple things. If this is a good tactical exercise for you, chat, as well as for Matthew, because this is something that's helped me. When it comes to like creating more unique ideas, I have been trying to make it more of a habit. Let me write this down for you too. Okay, hold on. For more unique ideas, study other niches and pull ideas from those niches into your core topic. For example, like you mentioned the Odyssey, like maybe you have like a 4-square green screen about the Odyssey, a lesson you learn, and pulling it into content, because and like this has helped me a lot, especially like with the World Cup or whatever streaming, for example. Like I had I mean, if you look at the comments for my video about streaming, apparently it's like a steaming hot take to say that I don't think streamers are dumb. I think that they're pretty smart.
I think they're pretty smart.
I mean, to be able to hold like a massive audience like that for hours on end is a skill.
You got to be a pretty intelligent person.
Totally. And so I took basically topics that I knew people cared about on the internet as a whole, but in different
Yeah.
niches, and then
Yeah.
applied my unique perspective to
Yeah.
something that people already cared about. And so in your end, you could do the same thing again. Like, I mean, you brought up like soccer or the Odyssey, for example, or any of these topics that people resonate with.
Uh-huh.
And you can think like when you're thinking about other niches, you maybe try to lean on like what your interests are. If you like she mentions in her video, she likes
Yeah,
rap,
she studies psychology.
yeah, she studies psychology. She looks at like
Yeah.
rap, what's going on in the rap world because she likes listening to
Yeah.
rap music, and
Yeah.
so for you, this and chat, hopefully this is helpful. This could be a tactical
Yeah.
exercise you could do is like write down on a list too.
Yeah.
And let me put this on your doc. Write out your interests
Yeah.
and then find the topics in those interests that people care about and connect it to content. I have made a couple videos about this, guys. Sorry to cut you off, Matthew.
No, you're good.
There is a book here. I actually just posted a video about this like 20 minutes ago. But there's a book here, thanks to Tiago, that he put me onto this book here. It's called A Technique for Producing Ideas. It goes through 5 steps on how to create basically quote unquote original ideas or more unique ideas. And the first step is to gather raw materials, and how you can do that is just by simply writing out your interests, finding the topics that have a lot of attention in those interests, and then trying to connect dots to your core topic.
That's good.
So
yeah, that's good.
And then also,
I think right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, go ahead. I'm in.
I was saying. You're good. I was thinking for me, like I've gotten a lot of mine from like the fitness space. Actually, that's where I get a lot of my ideas from.
Love it.
Yeah, from this fitness. So there's like this girl called Sarah V Fit. I don't know if you know her.
Sounds familiar. Let's see, Sarah.
Yes, yeah, Sarah V Fit.
Like this?
No, yeah. Wait, go back. Nice. Go back.
Maybe I'm spelling her name wrong. Oh, like this?
Yeah, right there at the top. Yeah, with the H. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her before.
Yeah,
yes.
So she's really good at the whole content and like she's like did like a whole sleep maxing or whatever, like maxing thing, and I got that idea.
Yes.
And that's been doing pretty well for me. So I think the fitness industry, like that's where I like to draw, and I'm interested in fitness. I work out pretty regularly, so I draw from that interest.
Here's a couple other things too that I'm trying to get better at. And Josh, if you're in the chat, I really appreciate your patience here. I will get to you soon, I promise. Here's a couple things here that I am trying to learn to get better at is you can also become more unique by the analogies that you use.
That's a good one.
And this is not, again, this isn't something that I have tactically implemented too much yet, but I have, chat, you guys will like this one. Tiago and I are actually creating an analogy bank right now based on, have you ever heard of Jason Flagellin? Do you know who that is?
Let me see his face.
The webinar guy?
No, I don't know this guy at all.
Okay, so this guy is behind like all the biggest webinars, like Alex Hormozy and
100 million.
Russell Brunson. Yeah, he's done like $250 million in webinar sales. But Jason Flagellin has this video where he ran this webinar for Iman Gadzhi. Hold on. And he was speaking to a room, and I want to see if I can find it so I can share it with you. He had this slide where he has literally a bank of analogies that he uses to close people on webinars, and I was like, let me see if I can find it real quick. Just presentation. I have recently started to write that down for my content.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll remind me to send it to you. But look up this guy. He has a webinar, or he has a presentation that he did where he talks about how he helped Iman make like 8 figures and 57 million in one launch. And he has a slide where he talks about he has like 250 different analogies that he uses to close people on a webinar. And I started to think about all the biggest creators too. For example, like Alex Hormozy has multiple different stories or analogies that he pulls from. and he has like certain sayings that he uses. You know, he's like one of the first things that people recognize with Hermosi is volume negates luck.
Yeah.
He has a lot of stories about. He has one about like when he was first starting out as a gym owner. He said like he felt like the American dream is dead until you actually make it. He has all these different stories, and then he has different ways that he explains his ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, and also a good way to stand out is by you deciding like if you're sharing a topic, connecting that idea with one of your interests as well could be a really good way to stand out. And then more tactically, I'm seeing editing styles. Like Angelina, she's really good at her different editing styles, as well as there's a girl named Lauren Dudley that has really unique styles. And then I mean like color schemes with this one. I mean that's kind of like the bottom of the list. These are like the main things that I'm thinking about. I would say these would be pretty good exercises here to try.
Yeah. I think I will. I'm gonna try and branch out into other, studying other niches as well. See what other people are talking about, and I can apply it to my content.
I think there's definitely something there since you have a background with photography. Thinking about like what are the core problems that photographers feel, and how can you relate that into your story. You know, that I mean, again, I know you said like you don't necessarily like working with them the most, but there's probably some feeling that you have that from your time as a photographer that might shape your worldview now. For example, like why did you decide to make content in the first place?
I just didn't want to work a 9 to 5.
And were you doing photography after the 9 to 5 or before?
Before. I was doing it for 8 years before.
Okay, so you were doing photography. Oh, so wait, so you're doing photography for 8 years, then you got a 9 to 5 after?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened between photography and the 9 to 5? Like why did you go from? Because you said you were making like $8K a month, but then I imagine maybe something happened when running the business, where you're like, let me start over.
Yeah. It was too location based. Location based, and I didn't like dealing with the people.
And out of all the opportunities out there to avoid working a 9 to 5, why was personal branding or making content online the one that resonated with you?
I just felt like it was the best avenue for freedom. I feel like freedom is very important to me. Like I don't have an issue with like working. Like I love working. Like I'm working really hard on this. I work really hard on other things. But the feeling of being owned by somebody else, like having a boss, is just so like demoralizing. I just could like, I would do anything and everything in my power to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate.
Then your way that you might stand out is by like, I see you even have UGC here in the first line of the bio. You might want to experiment more with that type of framing and like who you're speaking to. Like you might stand out just because you're speaking to maybe UGC creators versus beginner content creator, for example. You know, like you might be speaking to a different audience because these people resonate with your story of not working a 9 to 5. They like the idea of content, and so you standing out might just be simply that you're talking to UGC creators. You know, I don't know. I mean, that's up to you to decide, but I would encourage you to think like, try to go as deeply as you can into your backstory as possible. Write it all out.
Yeah.
Write out like your beliefs around your core topic, and then what beliefs do you think other people might rally around? I thought that there would be a good chance that a lot of people would rally around the idea that you can post content without being an expert, because I know that the vast majority of the world are not industry experts. In your case, I imagine there are a lot of people out there that, you know, don't want to work a 9 to 5, that also might have similar, like even me, like I resonate a lot with your backstory of photography, you know, so there might be certain things there that you can pull from. But or you could do, here's the last thing that I'll say, and then Josh is in the chat, so I might pass it over to Josh. And Matthew, feel free to come back as many times as you want, man, because I know you had other questions too.
Yeah.
So
no problem.
we can definitely run it back today, or or sorry, this week or next week. But another
Yeah.
thing that you might want to consider too is from your time in working in photography, has that shifted any of your beliefs on how to create content now? For example, when I was in real estate media, I used to charge real estate agents this is actually one of the reasons why I stopped doing it. But I used to charge real estate agents a ton of money to
Mm-hmm.
have really high quality listing videos and photos and blah 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 blah. But
Mm-hmm.
as time developed and as more and more people started posting on social media, I started to realize that like all the fancy equipment and editing and cinematic styles and stuff didn't really matter. And
Yeah.
so I started to lean more into like, no, actually you don't need all this fancy gear, which is the exact position that Sam Gaudet, the guy that I showed you earlier, he uses that in every video as well. He says like, I'm on a mission to get to 100,000 followers to show that you can grow with just an iPhone. That's his like differentiating factor, is he's trying to do it with just an iPhone. So
Yeah,
that could be something again that you can consider as well. It's like, what's something that I think goes against maybe a common belief that I think other people would rally around, and then how can I incorporate that into all of my piece of content?
Yeah. Okay, wow, you gave me a lot of interesting things to think about.
I know I couldn't get as tactical as maybe I wanted to, just because we'll have to do this exercise again, maybe in
Yeah,
if
no,
you're
100%.
if you're willing to come back to the lives maybe next week or even later this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, we could definitely set that up.
Would love to dive a little bit deeper, man. But
Yeah, definitely. This
anything?
was cool. I'm gonna take all this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna apply. I'm gonna send everything over to.
of course, man. Anything else that
Mhm.
I can help you with before I bring in Josh here?
No, I think I'm gonna let Josh have the spotlight. Sorry, Josh, I took
Awesome.
so long.
No. Don't feel bad. That's actually my fault because I told Josh a certain time that I didn't stick to. So not you at all, man. That's on me for not scheduling things properly. So,
Hey,
all right, Matt. I appreciate it. You have the doc. Send me a DM if you need any further questions or feedback. I'm happy to just give my thoughts and let me know how these experiments go for you.
sure I will, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, of course, man. All right.
All right.
Bye. All right, Josh, you are an absolute legend for sticking around for so long. Because of that, I'm going to give you as much time as you want, my friend. Let me send you over. I'm going to send you over this Google Meet link now. I appreciate you sticking around, man. Actually, let me create a new one here, just so you can get. I want you to have unique notes. Chat, did you guys find value in that session? Matt was awesome. Thanks for sticking around. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate your flexibility here. Let me send this to you right now. Check your DMs, and let's do it. That was a great session. Thank you. Thank you. Josh, let me know if you have any issues with that Google Meet link. Chat, we're doing a little intermission until Josh is able to join. Sorry, Josh, we're putting the spotlight on you a little bit. But did you guys find some value in that? Let me know. Popping on. Awesome, man. we go. Let's do it. He's here. Josh, before you even say anything, chat, can we just give a round of applause to this legend here for sticking around? I promised you 3:30 and now it's already 4. So or 3:55. So because of that, you have extended spotlight, my friend. Thank you for all your patience. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
You guys,
the conversation was insightful for me as well.
Thank you. And chat, thank you. The reason why I'm having all these scheduling conflicts is because of you guys. Whenever I post these stories about hopping on these streams, you guys just flood the DMs, and I get overwhelmed on my calendar here. So I have issues like these where multiple people booking in the same day. So that's thanks to you guys. Thanks for all the support. Josh, how can we help you, sir?
Good question. So my first question would be, this is something that I did recently, is I started making content about 2 months ago, a little bit less.
Hold on, let me pull up your page for the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to share the screen like this. All right, Josh, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
Sure. So I started making content about 2 months ago, and it's a completely new space for me. I never made content before in my life, don't have a history with photography or video or cameras. I'm a developer, so it's a different skill set.
Love it.
Yeah. And
love it.
I had been thinking about making content since I was a teenager. At the time, I did not have a computer that was powerful enough to edit, so that got delayed. But now I finally decided to give it a try, and I jumped straight into the personal branding, content marketing niche.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm an expert, which is what you like to say, but because I thought that it would be it was something I was passionate about, but also the most productive way that I thought to become good at content marketing and grow my own channel is to learn about it and help others, to teach.
Love it. I'm very aligned with this mission. So
yeah,
love it, man.
So I recently decided to pivot slightly, if you could say that.
Okay.
Which the reason I was passionate about personal branding, content marketing is because I've always had a big interest in psychology, charisma. I used to watch Charisma on Command.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I love that YouTube channel.
Yeah. So it is related to content marketing, but it's not like the core. So my first question for you is, how can I navigate this pivot in the most productive and efficient way? And can I appeal to everybody, or should I actually narrow it even further to just charisma, or just go back to personal branding? Can I capture all of that audience and interests?
I think the best thing depends on what your goal is. For example, like my goal is to master content, which is a pretty vague goal, but I have a standard for what that means. In order for me to master this skill of content, I am only focused on one thing, which is content creation. I know that is also something that like Sam Gaudet, who we've mentioned a lot on these streams, a lot of the experts in this space, they mention, like, hey, if a lot of them have the opinions, like I said, all advice works, depends on which one you aligned with most. A lot of the people that are experts, they have the opinion that if you want to be great at something, go all in on it. I've taken that to heart. And so if you have various interests, content creation or personal branding, charisma, psychology, etc., it could be in order of, I wouldn't be able to tell you this, you would have to determine this for yourself. And I think I've told someone this last week. I wrote down an exercise that was helpful for me was, what is the one thing that I think about more than anything else? I think this was with Gurm, right, chat? We were talking with Gurm about this last week. For me, the one thing I think about more than anything else is content, specifically content strategy. I just cannot stop thinking about it. And so if I have these various interests, I am also super interested in psychology, communication, social skills, like how you are as well. For me, on my page, what I would do is take those topics and blend it with the core topic of content for me personally, because content to me is the thing that I cannot stop learning about. If in your case, you can't stop learning about psychology or charisma, then you might want to change more of the central theme of the page to either of those and bring in personal branding as like a subtopic as an experiment to try. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like to have a central pillar and then have the smaller pillars around it, which I guess nurture the main pillar.
Yes, that's how I think of it. That seems to be aligned with what how the experts think. Like a complete straightforward answer is, what is, out of these three things, personal branding, charisma, psychology,
I think your audio might have cut.
Oh, again? Oh, shoot, guys. Sorry. Hold on. Chat, can you guys hear me still? Yeah, it did. How about now, Josh?
Yeah, it's good now.
Sorry about that. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties today, I guess. Sorry, chat.
Okay.
Josh, out of these three things, personal branding, charisma, psychology, which one to you do you resonate with the most, or that you like learning about the most?
I think psychology, I'd have to say.
The beautiful thing here is that, and we'll work through this together here. The beautiful thing here is that at 152 followers, you can pivot as many times as you need to. Like, I promise you, I have a page. Even this, well, not really this page, I don't think as much, but I have a page where I think I pivoted like 20 times. You cut off for a second. Chat, you guys can still hear me? You can pivot as many times. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I had a page that's still up. I don't really use it too much anymore, but when I was working with realtors, and yeah, I mean, it started off as I was doing street interviews for music was the first one. So let me actually walk you through this. It might be a helpful exercise. 2022, my buddies and I started to do street interviews because I wanted to get better at socializing. And so this is on another page here. It's just a real estate podcast page I haven't touched in a couple months because I don't really work with realtors anymore. But it started off as street interviews, then it went to me talking about music, then it was us talking about tech, and then it was street interviews about like entrepreneurship, and then I was doing like day in the life vlogs with entrepreneurs. I mean, I went through so many different ideas, and I was just freely experimenting with what I wanted to talk about because I literally had like 100 people, so for you, like, you have the luxury with 152 followers where you could totally just experiment with as many ideas as you want, and then whichever one you think you could talk about for like a super long time horizon. For me, like, I think I could talk about content literally for like the next 10 years every day. No doubt. I mean, I sit here on these live streams with you guys, and you guys hear me freaking ramble for hours when I'm talking to people. So for the exercise for you would be, what topic can you just absolutely talk about nonstop for hours or learn? And if that's psychology, then let's make it more psychology based. But shall we dive into that exercise, or do you have a couple ideas here?
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Because I think at about 80 posts, I posted a lot of volume, a lot of consistent volume. I was trying to, as much as possible, focus on that personal brand content marketing niche. And I was like, there's these other things I want to talk about which are related and beneficial to content, but I feel a little bit too boxed in. I like the psychology, I like communication, I like charisma. And yeah, I had to expand it. Like, I couldn't just talk about pure content.
And if you're already making those decisions at 152 followers, that's why I'm like, this is the perfect time. Again, thankfully, like, you have the luxury where you can make these changes. I mean, there's no rules, chat. Like, you can make these changes at any time, but obviously we all know what I'm talking about. Like, you can make changes and nobody's going to notice, and if you're making these changes at 152 followers, okay, well, then that's a good sign that we should maybe reposition a little bit. And so I even see here, like, wait, can you actually see when I do that?
Yeah, I saw the green.
Oh, nice, dude. That's sick.
Yeah.
Okay, I see here you have psychology of attention, right?
Yeah.
So immediately I'm seeing psychology here, just from like reading your bio, and then you even said helping you become impossible to ignore. I don't think any of this has to do with really content creation at all, you know? So that's perfect. It seems like you've already kind of been leaning towards psychology anyways.
Yeah, but then it's like hard for me to give up because I also like that. I like content. So yeah, it's a strange one because I do like talking about content and growing online.
Use this.
And it's related to attention and psychology. So
all right, here's an experiment for you. This will be, I think, pretty helpful. Okay. So experiment 1, we figured out what topic can you not stop thinking about. You've identified that to be psychology. Granted, there's other things that you mentioned, but it seems like by and large psychology, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me move this. Sorry. You can see my screen okay?
Yeah.
All right. Experiment 2. We're gonna really drill down the niche for a second. Okay? Niche. So we've identified psychology might be the niche, right? And whatever, everything's just gonna be in bold until I fix this. Whatever. Okay? Within a niche you have, and we've, again, chat, like this is not from me, this is from people much smarter than me. Within a niche you have different topics. And the beautiful thing about the niche of psychology is this is pretty wide. Like psychology is, there's a large audience there for this niche. It's not like, for example, you making content about, I don't know, crocheting, you know? Psychology, like a lot of people are interested in this. Topics here could be, social media, like how it affects, you know, whatever, psychological behaviors or patterns or whatever, right? Like that also blends in with what you like. Topics here could be fear or like responding, I'll just say like responding to events, fear, goal setting. What else, chat? What else, Josh? When I'm saying this, what else would be related to psychology here?
Attention.
Manipulation, maybe. Attention. Yep.
Communication.
Mm-hmm. So like the way I think about this, like this all of these, like communication is aligned with what you said with charisma. And these all can, I think, all point to psychology. If you keep psychology as the backbone, like what can we learn from a, you know, whatever, a mental angle of all of these, you know? Like why is X person that, you know, why is this type of person the most interesting person in the room? Well, it's because they're thinking about this, and this. This is how they view the world, you know, whatever. I don't know. Like there's multiple ways where you can tie all these topics into the niche of psychology. So with you saying like I really enjoy content marketing, all content marketing this is an oversimplification, but you would probably agree that this whole industry is just around how do I hijack attention? How do I hijack someone's someone's, you know, dopamine receptors, basically. So like
I think Callaway said content is 2 words. It's data plus psychology.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Data plus psychology. Right? So if Callaway's saying that, he's obviously much smarter than myself. It seems like there won't be an issue here with content marketing. But is there an issue in your mind when I write all this out?
So how do I explore? Because all of those bullets are interesting to me, but how do I explore them without the backbone getting lost? And still being known for psychology, being known for one main thing.
Can you explain what you mean by the backbone getting lost?
Because if I make a video that's geared towards a personal branding niche, and I make another video that's geared to communication in a job interview, and then another video related to fear, overcoming fear, like how does my page not get diluted or lost?
By always tying in this aspect. Like if people, when I think of psychology, I think about like I guess the mental, you would probably have a better way to describe this, but I always think about like what's happening inside the brain. And so if you always approach these topics from the mindset of how this affects your brain, then I know that I can go to his page because all of his content talks about how X, Y, and Z affects my brain. Does that make sense? Like, for example, with my page, and this, you would understand this as well. Let me share my whole screen so I can just share a whole bunch here. With my page, I've explored a variety of different topics. For example, like streaming, or the World Cup, or Kumar, or Claude AI, or Meta AI, but all of these continuously relate back to making content. And so it's just basically how you script the videos. If you talk about all these topics here, and sorry, you'll probably see this part of the desktop. It's for the stream, so if that's a little distracting, my bad. But all these topics here, like responding, whatever, fear response, fear, obviously these all are like directly related to how this affects your mind. But if you decide to talk about content marketing, let's say you find a new strategy on how to increase retention, how can you relate that back to what's going on in the brain?
Yeah.
Like here's this new strategy that a lot of people are doing, and here's why. And this also is a really good angle for you to take too, because I don't see a lot of people who make like content marketing videos and relate it back to the psychological aspects of it. For example, like a lot of people will give tactics on like, use these different hooks, or use a rehook here, or here's a perfect like scripting framework. But nobody talks about why it works. Why is it that we, for example, like, and this is, sorry chat if I'm losing some of you guys because I'm going to get really in the weeds here, but this is for Josh. Why is it that certain scripts, for example, like a lot of scripts that work on my page start with a hook and then a super hook where I have to establish credibility, and then they'll give a promise to a dream outcome, and then it'll go through net new value, unique insights that are not obvious. Why are everything that I just said, why are those the main components of a script? Well, I would imagine if you take a psychological frame to it, in order to get a random stranger's attention, it needs to be something that stands out across the thousands of different stimuli that they're being exposed to each day. And once you have their attention, in order to hold their attention is to immediately respond to the first thing that pops up in their brain, which is they're skeptical of, the value I provide. You know what I mean? Like just by taking a different frame to always relating it back to how someone is thinking about what they're watching is a way that you can make content about these different topics and just keep relating it back to how the brain is operating through all of this. And the good thing for you is because psychology is such a wide topic and largely studied, I would imagine there are a plethora of studies that you can pull from on psychology related to social media and like social media gimmicks and tactics and how that affects the brain, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But you almost feel like, is psychology too big of a niche?
No, I don't think that there is such a thing. Obviously, I'm not an expert. You guys know that. But I think for me, what I've learned, for example, like Caleb Ralston has a really good analogy here. He talks about, let me see if I can link you the video. He talks about different pawns. Have you ever seen those videos where he's like, if you're starting off, you want to be the king in your pond or whatever, and then work your way up. Let me see if I can find it quickly.
Is it something with bridges, or is that something else?
Yeah, he does. He has one about bridges. I don't know if I can find it here, but I'll find it. He mentions. Oh yeah, right here. This is a good one that you might want to watch. So he recommends to, again, and this guy is obviously much smarter than me, guys. He recommends to start in a pond, not an ocean. When I took this advice, I started off doing content marketing for realtors, which was very small niche. Like the top dudes who are in the real estate content marketing world have like 40, 50,000 followers. Actually, no, the top dude is Tom Ferry. He has 300,000, but still, there's not like the top dude in the psychology niche probably has like upwards of 8 million or so, you know? Now, is that a problem? Like, is it too big of a niche? I don't think that that's a problem. However, Caleb Ralston mentions like you might want to start in a pond so you become the psychology of attention guy, which is exactly what we're talking about right now. You take a psychological angle to content marketing, and then once you build your name for yourself, then you expand to the lake is what he calls it. So instead of doing psychology about social media, then you branch out to just psychology as a whole or psychology of attention, I don't know, whatever. And then the last step is just psychology overall. If you think about Alex Hormozy, he started off with gyms, giving business advice for gyms, and then it was giving business advice for like educational creators, software businesses, just service businesses. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't figure it out. Service businesses, and then he goes up all the way to the ladder of now he just owns the idea of business as a whole. Like he's the guy who anyone can go to across all different niches for business advice. When he started off gym advice, then it was actually more like marketing and sales for service business owners for a while. And then he kind of worked his way up. Same thing with Iman Gadzhi. Iman Gadzhi started with like, and chat, sorry if I'm losing some of you guys. And Josh, if I'm losing you, let me know. Iman Gadzhi started with, what was it? SMMA, social media marketing agencies. That was the content that he made. And then he moved up to like make money online. And then he moved up to a new lake of whatever, personal branding or whatever he does now. And then the last example would be Gary Vee. Gary Vee started off with like wine, making content about wine. Then he moved up to like whatever. Caleb has this broken down, but like marketing for wine businesses, and then overall throughout his journey he just makes content about marketing as a whole. So I don't think the question of like, is there too big of a niche? Like, should I not make content because the niche is too big? I think I'm not going to say it's the wrong approach, but it's not one that I typically take. It's more so, how can I approach this in a different angle? And thinking about this idea of starting off with a lake and then a pond and then an ocean, that might be a good frame for you as well. Yours, tactically, that might look like you start off by talking about psychology of attention, like how you have. And what that means is you relate content marketing tips or whatever, advice, to psychology, basically. And then as people start to... Did I spell that wrong? As people start to resonate with your content, you might level up to like psychology of, I don't know, communication or something. Because all content is just a form of communication. So this is like, let's just get really specific here. You might start off with psychology of content, then psychology of communication. So you relate communication tips, advice to psychology, and then you just start talking about psychology as a whole. And this would be your pond, this would be your lake, and this would be your ocean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
In my case scenario, again, I started off content marketing for realtors. That was very, very narrow market, but when you have like a very small market, you can become known in that market pretty quickly. In your case, if you took this approach of psychology of content, I can't think of a single other creator in our space that does that. So it'd be really easy to differentiate yourself very quickly, and then just try to level up from there as you go. So,
Yeah,
but
that's good advice.
but again, everything just always relates back to psychology.
Mhm.
If that's the thing that you can't stop thinking about, then let that be your North Star for your content to come.
And you said the way to do that is through the script.
Yeah, the way to do that is just by always mentioning, like if I make a video today or tomorrow about I don't know, like some sort of gym, I don't know, something about fitness, the first thing that I'm thinking about is how can I apply or how can I relate fitness to my core topic of content creation, or content marketing rather, because then I can take these different interests that I have but relate it back to the central theme of my page, so that every single video is about some sort of content strategy or advice or something that people come here for,
Yeah. That's good. That's a good roadmap.
So
Yeah.
this might be an experiment for you to try.
Yeah. There was something else which is unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to see what your experience is with it, or meeting people that have done or not done this. I started looking at editors, and I started putting some money behind that. I'm still in the process of finding one and getting that started consistently. Most of my content until now was just me, and more recently I started reaching out to editors because I don't have a limited time. I have a baby and a job, and I want to be consistent and make a lot of content, and I wanted to keep that volume up without going crazy. So I started looking at editors, and I've seen on Reddit, and maybe there's a general consensus, which is don't put money behind your content until your content makes you money. That's what I've seen online. And I just want to know your thoughts. Have you seen I'm a small channel right now. Have you seen small creators put money behind their content, or do they just invest time until they make money to invest back into the channel, into the content?
Man, what a brilliant question. Chat, you guys, I hope you get value from this, because as soon as you said you started paying for editors, my heart sunk for you. I have very deep-rooted trauma from doing this, chat. I have a page that now, again, it's the same page that turned into a real estate podcast. But remember how I told you how I had that page where I made all these pivots, and we were doing interviews for music and then street interviews and blah, 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 blah. On that page, when we started to do like day in the life interviews with entrepreneurs, I was spending $2,000 a month. I didn't have like an agency or anything. I was working a full-time job. I was spending basically my whole paycheck at the time to editors, so that they can make me videos that would get 100,000 views, and no money came from it. And so that year when I did that, I think I spent almost close to like $20,000 on editors, and my page had 100 followers. And
Wow.
so this was a very, very like harsh mistake. I was so blinded by this idea that I wanted to be like so unique. Like I wanted to do something that nobody's ever done, which is why I was looking at School of Hard Knocks. They do these street interviews with entrepreneurs. You might have heard of School of Hard Knocks, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to be totally different from all of them. And let me actually see if I can show you an example just really quickly, just so you can see what I'm saying. But I would spend 8 hours with an entrepreneur, and then I'd send it to an editor, and each video would cost me $150. And it's a terrible time, dude. I would never recommend doing that again. let me see if I can find it quickly. But yes, to answer very succinctly, what they're saying on Reddit, I have deemed to be 100% true, and that's actually the basis of my page here. The reason why I'm able to make a post every single day, hundreds of days in a row, without ever failing, is because I choose formats that are easy for me to adopt without editing or without spending a lot of time editing. For example, like these are basically the three formats that I use, which is this one, where I literally just show my screen, right? Requires like virtually zero level of, oh wait, can you see this? My bad. Sorry, Josh. All right, here are the main formats that I use, and this is by design. This one here, right? It's literally just me, selfie, and then I flip the camera, and then I'm just pointing to the computer. Very low effort to create this. And then I just add auto captions on edits. Okay. The second one that I use all the time is this, right? Like a Foursquare green screen, or just green screen as a whole. I just do it literally line by line. I don't spend any time editing this. And then I have some where I'm yapping, in the car. And that's about it. And then I have the content experiments where I do like a stitch and then it goes to a green screen. I literally like cycle through the 4 easiest formats for me to do so that I can just post every single day and not have to rely on an editor at all, ever. Because I had burned so much money doing that. And so my heart goes out to you because it is not easy what you're doing. You, in the short term, your videos are incredible. Like they look as if I'm still
trialing editors, but go on.
They're on the same quality as like a big creator is what I'm saying. Like this looks like RPN, for example, or some of the other big influences that you might have, or like Callaway with some of these, right? Mm-hmm. It looks incredible, but from my experience, I did not have unlimited funds, and the editing by itself is not going to be the reason why your account blows up.
You told me, I think it was script and idea or script and topic.
The two things that I consistently optimize for are the topic and the script. A good topic and a good script will produce everything you want. Everything else to me is just like, it's just noise. Editing, I don't think matters. Trending audio, I don't think matters. I should always add nuance to this because, like I said, guys, I think all advice works. I think you definitely can blow up with like really unique editing. I'm just saying in cases like this with Josh, it would definitely be the last thing that I would ever suggest as an experiment, because you're operating on a fixed timeline and a fixed budget. And so when that cash, for me, like when that cash dried up and I was 100 posts in, and now I'm like, okay, well, I just posted all these videos that are high quality. I don't have any more money to like for the next one. Now I'm, I had all these concerns of like, well, now I'm going to dip back in quality. The good thing for you is you have 152 followers. You could stop doing all these highly edited stuff and just doing like the yapping, the green screen, the step-by-step, super easy formats, and just use the topics that work. That'll save you a ton of money. For example, like this right here. This could be a green screen, all of this. And this video got 2,000 views. Take this, do it again as a green screen. Take this, let's actually, hold on. Let's see what your most popular videos are so far. This is going to be your experiment. Can I give you an experiment to do?
Yeah.
All right. I like to give people experiments on this part of the show is like for people to try different experiments. All right. Let's see, Josh, what your outliers are here. All right. So I show speed. Chat. Hopefully you guys can see this. I don't know. So your I show speed. I would take this, green screen it. Take this one. Oh, look at this. This one is the baby steps, right? This you could do with your phone. You don't even need to edit this at all. Do this with your phone. Do this with your phone. Green screen. Do this with your phone. Green screen. This could be green screen. Yeah. I would even go green screen as much as you can with all of these, because to me, I know a lot of people, like, there's a lot of buzz on yapping. Like, Tara's even, or she was in the chat earlier, she said, how do I need to yap more? And I get a lot of people that come to me about yapping. You know, I know I have some videos on it, but I think green screens are by far the easiest format, because you can film it one line at a time. You let the visuals behind you do more of the heavy lifting in terms of retention, and you don't have the pressure of like doing it in one take, you know? Whereas like some of the yapping videos, they are kind of one take. I'd recommend trying to recreate these in green screen formats, low lift formats, no editors. How long have you been paying editors for, Josh?
I mean, I'm trialing, so like which is nice because I don't have a large follower account. I'm just posting all the videos. But yeah, there's going to be a lot, I think, for the next few days. A bit of a mess on my page, and there has been the last few days as well, different types of videos. But I would say about a week and a half.
Austin, what's going on, man? Sorry, hold on one second, Josh. Austin, what's going on, man? If you need help with your page, DM me help, and we'd love to have you on the show and take a look at your page as well. Right now we're helping Josh with his page. So feel free, again, just DM me the word help. Help. Feel free to also comment in the chat too if you want me to reach out to you, and I will. Anyways, okay, Josh. So first off, when I'm giving you this experiment of trying to edit less, how is that sitting with you? I know that's kind of a hard pill to swallow. Is that something that you think is...
Yeah, something I want to think about.
Okay.
For sure. That's most of my channel is like, even though to be honest, a lot of it was highly edited, but it was myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started doing yaps. If you like scroll down, you can see there's no yaps. Then there's a bunch of yaps in a row, because that specifically was to improve that skill set.
Nice.
All of my videos were scripted. I wanted to learn how to speak a little bit off the dome with some lines in my head. Also film outside. Like I wanted to push myself to different limits to grow in ways I hadn't been feeling I was growing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like I've entered this domain of like, oh, let me try editors. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we have to go through these motions. But you can see I did a lot of green screens. I did all of these videos were edited by me. Some of them more high effort, some of them less effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm going through the motions. And I have not so many followers, so I feel that like I have the liberty to just try it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
try everything.
Here's one thing that I'd recommend as an experiment too. So let me put this in your experiment buckets. Experiment 3. Okay, experiment. I'm going to give you a bunch of experiments to try. All right, so experiment 3, try, put less money on editors. Try easier formats that you can edit quickly yourself. That's going to be the most sustainable long term. You don't have to rely on someone else, for sure. I mean, obviously, like once you get to a huge level, of course they all have editors. But I mean, like when you're in the grind for a while, doing it yourself and not spending money on editors is going to be the most sustainable. Experiment 4. Try using native fonts. What that means is like these videos, like I've noticed a couple of them where like I've never seen oh no, that one's I think okay. There were a couple of them that I just saw, like this one right here, like I've never seen this font before. And from all the experts, this is a content experiment video that I'm probably going to do. All the experts in the content world mention that like they see noticeable improvements when they use fonts that are just native to the platform. Those are like TikTok classic font, or just like stuff that Instagram gives you, you know, like the classic font choices that Instagram gives you, versus like these. I fell into this problem for a while when I was in my editing phase, where like I tried to have like very unique font choices. I mean, these are cool. Like I love how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
This looks really good, but it also could be to your detriment, because in order to continue to show this font over and over, like let's say you want to stylistically have this be a recurring creative style for you, this type of font choice, this one I think you have to rely on editors for. It also, this is like this type of style, this font choice also to me like elicits that this is a little bit more polished, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you might find it just to be easier to go a little bit more unpolished, like how you have been with these yaps and green screen, and use more font that people are already like interacting with. Yeah, I think it's going to save you a lot of money, basically, is what I'm trying to get, is what I'm trying to get at. I think it's going to be the most sustainable for you long term.
An example comes to mind, but I don't know if I have enough details. And that's why I wanted to hear your insight, because I know you had your experiences and you're talking to people all the time who might have their own. The one example that comes to mind, somebody who had quite a unique approach, was Callaway himself, which I think for both of us is an inspiration.
Definitely.
Where he I think 3 years ago, don't know if I read in his newsletter or somewhere else, he approached content as like another business endeavor where he backed it with money. I don't know if he had money left over or he took, loans, whatever it was. But he didn't take the, low effort like yaps or low effort formats. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but he stands out in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's because not as many people do or can do or did what he did.
Definitely.
So I wonder if you have any success stories yourself that you've seen or you've met, or if it's like almost exclusively, you don't see making polished videos earlier on being a good strategy.
It depends on this is going to come down to it, like individual situation. It depends on your cash reserves. In my experience, I had the same thought process, because again, like as I say in all these streams, I think all advice works. I'm not saying that super high polished is bad. Like Callaway definitely stands out because this is very intensive in terms of the editing and whatnot. For me personally, when I tried to do this, because again, my whole central hypothesis with the previous page was that I'm going to stand out because my videos are going to be, let me see if I can actually just find it for you. I'll show you an example. I wanted to have the highest edited videos. I wanted them to be the most effort intensive in terms of production. And I burned out within a couple months because I ran out of money, and I also couldn't continue to make the content. It just took too long. So in my experience, it has not been successful because I didn't start off with a large amount of money that I could use as like a runway for myself, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So hold on. Now, if you are starting with like a larger runway and you think, no, I think if I spend, $1,000 a month for the next 20 months or something, like I have room to do that, go for it. No problem with that at all. I just was not in that predicament at all. Now, let's see.
Out of all the people that you've spoken to that have come on the lives, do you know any of them who have taken editors early on, or they all exclusively do it themselves?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I think everyone that I've talked to so far has done editing themselves. I don't think, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with having editors. It's, it's a good like leverage point for you, so you don't have to spend time doing stuff that is, lower leverage for you. But earlier on, when I relied too heavily on editors earlier on, it also reduced the amount of volume that I could produce. And I would sometimes I'd wait a couple days in order for the editor to get back to me with the video. Or like I had a certain quality standard that I thought mattered, when really the topic and the script matters more than the editing. And so to me, it was just like It was
And
improper allocation of my focus.
That makes sense to me because I'll tell you that when we spoke last and you mentioned to me topic and script being number one, I don't think I was spending enough time on those things. And then between the baby and the job and other responsibilities, I'm like, how can I free up more time to invest in higher leverage, content Lego bricks, if you want to use colorways metaphor, like
Sure.
more important higher leverage actions, because I did put time in the editing. You did mention to me lower effort formats. But I was like, I don't have enough time to spend on the higher leverage things like the script, the concept, the research, looking at, Eden or sandcastles. I rushed through it. So editing for me, I know it's less important, but I was like, this is the most time consuming part. This is just my thought process. If I can offload that and I can spend the free time that I have, dedicate more of that to the higher leverage actions, maybe that can be a good system for me. That was my process, because I know editing is not the most important part, and it's not going to make a great channel out of a channel with a bad script or bad ideas. But that's exactly what I wanted to put more time into, because I felt I was missing the investment there. Anyway, that's my thought process.
So I found it, by the way, and I'll give you my answer here in 1 second. Chat, you guys might like this. This might be a fun exercise here. This was during the real estate media days when I was also doing this as well. So some of these videos were freaking great. Let me find one that I was really proud of, that I was like, this one's gonna be a hit, and then it got 5,000 views, which was, I was stoked, but I spent 3 days making this video. So, all right. Oh wait, I don't know if the chat can see this. Hold on. This is a fun memory lane here. This guy, holy cow. All right. I just blew my ears out. That audio was super loud. All right, I'm going to share my screen. This is going to be a fun memory lane for you. And, maybe this might shift some beliefs possibly. So let's see here. I don't know if I won't be able to share my audio. That's fine. You'll just be able to see it visually. I'm on a different Chrome tab, I guess, so I won't share my audio. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can see my screen?
I can see.
All right, chat. Let me make sure chat can see this. You guys will find this pretty funny. Okay, so this is one of many videos that I made. And again, my whole premise of this page was me going and spending an entire day with different entrepreneurs. And in this video, I spent 8 hours with this self-driving car company, and I scripted this whole video out. Everything in here was pre-planned by me. And look at the editing. This video cost me $250, and let's see what the editing looks like here. The guy isn't actually driving this car, but the car isn't driving itself either. And with him looking at us the whole time while we're driving, we need to figure out what was going on here. Turns out the cars are from a company called Halo Car. And before we started driving, I know you can't hear it, but there's a lot of music happening. There's a lot of sound effects happening, but let me keep going. I spoke to the CEO.
I run a company called Halo Car. Push a button, a driverless car just arrives at your doorstep. I started the company about 4 years ago. There are two big problems. One is EVs are too expensive. The second big problem is parking is a nightmare. And we started off with a very small deployment in San Mateo. People loved it.
That's great and all, but we still didn't know how the cars actually work.
There's a computer behind you guys. That computer is in constant contact with Romario, who's driving the car. 3 modems, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon. Those 3 modems are keeping the contact of the car and allowing all of the stream quality coming from the cameras back to Romario. He actually sees more than you can see as you sit in the car because the cameras are up top. So the gentleman that's driving is...
So I had a whole bunch of motion graphics. I had a whole story built out, a ton of different, you can hear the audio, but there's different music that plays, different sound effects that are happening. And I did this for so many videos, man. I did another one where I spent 8 hours with this guy who's a millionaire from doing Amazon FBA. This one too. Hold on. I'm just going to show you 2 examples, then I'll give you the... This guy just made over... for $800 in just 5 hours. But he made most of that money when he was away from the computer.
I made additional 2 sales. I got another sale. Yeah, I got a sale.
He sells products on Amazon, and we thought it sounded too good to be true. So Eddie took us to the warehouse
This is the warehouse.
and showed us how he does it.
All right, so here's what's interesting. We bought these for $5.29, and now we're gonna go over here, and they're same exact item, except it's selling for $19.89.
We're starting to understand his business, but we ran into a little problem.
We're operating all the time on hotspots. I actually should have done this at home, to be honest.
The hotspot set us back a bit, so we raced to pack up all the products and get it delivered on time. When we returned, Eddie showed us how to find the best products on
So
Amazon.
the very first step is to keep a chart. Look at the price history. It's been one of the most consistent items on the website. You want to know how many times an item sells per month and per day. The item has to be brand new, it has to be FBA, and it has to have competitive pricing.
Eddie walked us through his entire process. Okay, so chat, you guys were probably able to hear it. I know, Josh, I don't know if you could hear it from the live. The reason why I show you these examples is because when I watch these videos, I remember how long this took me to make, but also I'm like so proud of how it turned out. Like, I think these videos are so good, and I know that there's a deep hole that is in my heart when you talk to me about this topic, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I if I maintained this style of editing and production, I would have absolutely blown up. Like, I would have been a huge YouTuber. Only problem was I was spending $250 a day on a video that was getting 1,000 views, and so, like, you could see for me, I was able to I had this vision. I was thinking in terms of like 5 years from now being the top guy who like interview all these entrepreneurs and blah blah blah, and I was like, this is so much better than School of Hard Knocks, which I still think is the case. But the reason why they're so successful is because they nailed a format that they can do repeatedly. It doesn't take a lot of time, consistently for years on end. I can only do this for 2 months and then I burned out, you know? So it's not necessarily that like the high polished is bad or the low polished is good. It's just what's the most sustainable long term. For me, it has been, without a doubt, picking formats that are easy to produce on both the production and the post-production side. So the best example of that would be green screens. You get the visuals that you want in the editing, but you can also edit while you're making it. Like, I literally film one sentence at a time, and then I'll trim it, and then I'll film the next sentence, trim it, film the next sentence, go so on and so forth. So yeah,
that's insightful. I appreciate that.
Try to find formats that are popular on the platform, which green screens are, and that are super easy and sustainable to do long term. Green screens for me are like, they are the backbone for me of my page. Like, I don't think I'd be able to post every day without them. So
yeah, no, I love green screens. I think it's very interesting with the ever-changing visuals behind you.
And if you put that, instead of like allocating money on editing, if you put those resources into the front end instead of the back end, I think you'll find way better returns that way. If you spend more time or money even on researching topics and thinking a little bit more about the script versus doing the editing, that to me, by and large, has been the bulk of my success, has been from the front end.
Interesting. I think it's less intuitive for many people. You think of paying an editor, but not somebody to help you ideate, research, write scripts. So it's something to think about.
It's the unsexy part, and it's also the hardest part. Like, it's easy to find someone who can edit a video. It's hard to find a topic that is going to do well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else I can share with you, Josh? I know I'm kind of ending here. I don't know if I'm ending on a downer for you. But
No. I wanted to hear your experiences and your thoughts on it.
A very deep trauma with what you're going through right now. So,
I appreciate you sharing, and I'm definitely going to spend some time thinking about, your journey through it. I think as well, I'm still new, so I'm going through these motions. I want to try different things, see what hits.
Of course.
Yeah.
When you're first starting a page too, you have like the biggest jolt of creative inputs too. You know, like you have all these creative ideas, you want to change the game and whatnot, and you still can. Just make sure you're doing it one, you know, like in a way where you could still post tomorrow and the next day, and then 6 months from now without spending, you know, your life savings. So.
For sure. I think that hits the most as well, to make sure that whatever I'm doing is sustainable, that I can be consistent with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is like, even if, let's say you're paying, I know my example is pretty extreme. I was paying a lot of money. Let's say in your example, maybe you're only paying like $100, $200, maybe $300 a month on editors. The problem with that still is, think about the expectation that you're setting as well on the viewer. For me, like, I like green screens and yapping and whatnot, because if people come to my page and they're expecting more of that format, I know I'll always be able to deliver that. It's very easy to produce. But if people come to your page and they're expecting Callaway editing, but then let's say your editor gets sick one day, or you don't have the money to pay for editors, or maybe your editors are backlogged with work, you know, it can become an unnecessary bottleneck in the production process. So
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, okay, you've given me a bunch of things to contemplate and think about.
I've given you a couple experiments, my friend. I'd love to see what happens for you. And my last experiment for you would be, I'm not sharing my screen, but spend more time researching topics and scripting. And if you want, I'll send you the scripts that work for me. Feel free to use if useful. And my last experiment that I'm giving you, and I don't know if you can see my screen, but I'm writing 2 last experiments for you. You have 6. The last one here is to double down on your outliers. So you have videos about speed or whatever. Now, through the lens of psychology of attention, how can you make another video about speed with the idea of the psychology of attention? How is speed able to hijack the minds of millions of kids around the world? You know? Might be some videos there that you can make.
Yeah.
So, there you go, my friend.
Awesome, thank you. And you can send me the scripts you use after.
Yeah, let me send you one right now. I think I have a Google Doc on it. If not, yeah, I'll just send it to you after this live. Let me see if I got it. Educational script. I don't know if I have it on Google Docs. Yeah, I'll send it to you here shortly. Oh no, this is it right here. Cool. Yep, this is the one. This is the one right here that has done the best for me to get my ideal audience. Where did you go? And this one's about speed too, so you could use this as a blueprint.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh no, sorry, this one's actually about yaps, my bad. But same idea. Starts with the hook, super hook, promise. Yeah, this is all good. Cool.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, anything else I can help you with, my friend, just you know where to reach me.
Yeah, I do. Thank you so much.
Of course, man. All right, Josh, always a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Likewise. All right.
Chat.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. Chat, thank you guys for sticking around. I know this was a longer stream. 2 hours. Do we have any other questions? Anything else to wrap up before we're done for today? As always, Josh, if you're still watching, or anyone still watching, I'll end the stream by plugging the YouTube so you guys know where to find this. The YouTube here. Feel free to go to the YouTube, guys, if you want to watch any of the replays. But I think we're done for today's session. Let's see who's still in here. Cool. Josh, if you're still in here, I will have this up on the YouTube. We'll have your episode come out here in the next couple days too. And you can check the replay here, which I need to update this title. Episode come out. And this title is going to be How do I stand out in a saturated market? Okay. Dr. Scott, what's going on, man? We are ending stream here, but if you need help or anything with your page, feel free to send me a DM. And I'd be happy to give you some experiments to try. Alright, guys. That's it for today's stream. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.